All right, hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. So if you're new here, my name is Penny and currently we are doing a homeschool series. So I'm just trying to get some help out there to some people who maybe are starting to homeschool or considering homeschooling. And this is only a short series and then we'll move on to other things. So I just really felt it on my heart because I know there's a lot of people out there who are like, what the heck do I do? I don't know what to do. So that's what I'm here for. So today's video is going to be, let me look at my notes. We're doing it on where to look for homeschool curriculum. Okay, I want to be more detailed today because there's a whole wide world of things. I mean, the people in the 80s had like this much, and we have so much, and it is so hard to narrow it down. And it's a trial and error thing. You know, as I said in the last video, it's okay. Show yourself some mercy and, you know, just do what works for you. Okay, so I'm going to go with just like what we've used and what we've done in our life, okay? So first of all, when you begin to homeschool and you're like, what do we use? You know, again, you have to find what works for you. But I'm going to go over some places here that you can find things, okay? So obviously you can go online to these publishing companies and buy directly from them, you know, just like you can with anything. But there's a lot of places people don't think to look. So you can go to garage sales. You would be surprised how much homeschool curriculum you can find at garage sales. And it doesn't have to be labeled homeschool per se. Got a lot of static. You know, you might find art books at a garage sale, or you might find things you can use for history or science, or you'd be amazed at garage sales I've been to where they've got whole science project boxes and stuff. So there's all kinds of things. But you also will a lot of times run across actual curriculum. So don't underestimate garage sales. And of course, you're going to get a lot cheaper too. Used bookstores. A lot of towns have used bookstores, and you go through there, especially in like the teen and, you know, younger kids section, and you'll find a lot of books in there as well. Let me see what else. Okay, eBay. I bought a lot of stuff off of eBay when we first started because you can get it used. I mean, you know, like once you use a book, if you don't have other kids, or even if it has gone through your other kids, what are you going to do with it, right? So you might as well resell it, make a little bit off of it. So eBay, Amazon, real estate. A lot of people don't think to look at like the library. I don't know about you guys, but our local library has like a used sale once or twice a year, I think. And you can come in and there's a whole room and you can get like, you know, a whole bag full of books for a couple bucks. So they have those. And then you can even go to like Walmart and Dollar Tree and get a lot of things for like younger kids. So Walmart and even Dollar Tree, you can get a lot of those little workbooks, and you're spending like hardly nothing, you know. Workbooks. I think you're looking at like maybe preschool to fourth grade, maybe fifth. But a lot of times you can find workbooks in there for spelling, for math, for different types of language arts help. So don't underestimate those, especially the Dollar Trees. I mean, we live in a small town and our Dollar Tree is fairly small, but we've gotten a bigger one and they have a lot. So I can imagine if you live in a bigger city or go to a bigger city, how that's going to be. So yeah, absolutely do that. So we use a lot of, we have a used bookstore. It's like a curriculum type bookstore about an hour away from us. And so what we would do when we were done with stuff, not workbooks that you write in, but like actual, you know, textbooks and things like that. When we were done with them, every year we would go over there, make a trip, take our old books over there, and then she would give us like a credit to go shop in her store and buy more things. And she had a lot. And she's got a big website too. I think it's called carebooks.com. It's located in New Paris, Indiana. New Paris, if you've ever been there, it's like there's not much there. But she has a great bookstore and she got a website, so she will ship it. And she has a lot of things and you can get it a lot cheaper. She has like everything. So that was something we use. Like I said, we also were in homeschool groups as my girls got a little bit bigger, and we would trade, with other moms. We would loan to them, they would loan to us, so that's something too. Okay, so let's see, I'm looking here at my notes. So what we use specifically, so I'm going to name some companies specifically that maybe you could check out if you're completely, new and say, I don't even know where to look. So here's a couple company names. So we use Abeka, and Abeka is, like preschool, clear through 12th grade. I think we started using it maybe 6th grade or so. But we use Abeka. And like I said, as we got a couple of years into homeschooling, kind of got in our own groove of things, we pulled from different companies. So we liked Abeka for the science and history, and I liked it for some of the like English language arts types thing. It is a Christian company, and they are very biblically sound. Now, some of it can be kind of dry and boring, the history and science in the upper grades, like late middle school, high school. It can be kind of dry and boring, but that's when you just incorporate things into it that works for you. But it's very biblically sound. And I know I really love it, elementary curriculum, because I worked in a Christian school and we used Abeka, and it is an excellent, excellent curriculum. We also at one time used ACE, and that's for Accelerated Christian Education, and that's little like workbooks, like they call them a packet or whatever, but they're these little workbooks. So some people like that. Instead of going through carrying heavy textbooks, you get like, I think it's 12 packets. They call them a PACE. In AC, they call them a PACE, but it's pretty much like a little workbook. And they're very thin, so that's good, especially if like you travel a lot and you don't want to have all these heavy books. Those are good. We loved that up until about 5th grade. After 5th grade, I can't stand the math, but you might love it, but I couldn't stand it. That was one of the books that in the other video I said I ripped in half and told my daughter to rip it in half because I was like, there's no instruction to this. I hate this. So, and I really like the Bible curriculum, even in high school. Love it. But for math and a lot of the English courses, I didn't care for it because it didn't give enough instruction. You might be better at it and not need as much instruction. But it was good, and it's great for like little kids. My youngest, she loved it when she was little because it's very colorful. It's got these characters in it that carry out through all the curriculum from preschool clear up through 12th grade. And so it's a good biblically based curriculum as well. But like I said, you get all these little workbooks. I think it's like 12 per subject per year per student. So the downfall is if you have several children in your family, you can't really reuse them because once you write them, it's done. So it's not like a textbook like from Abeka, but still, it's a good option. And if you don't have enough money, you say, hey, this is what we want to use. Instead of having to buy a bunch up front, you can just buy a few at a time online or one subject at a time. And because they're workbooks, you can just go through, so many at a time. So that's good as well. We use something called Queen Homeschool. I believe she's still out there. I really liked hers. And this was a lady who, I can't remember her name. I just know her curriculum and her website is Queen Homeschool. And her and her family wrote most of it themselves. Now, they have some other publishers in there that they sell on their website, but she did a lot of it herself. I'm trying to think. We like the picture study. That's what it's called. My youngest daughter loved picture study. So there's a picture study book, and you open it up, and it's got like this old world style art. Love it. And it was really good. And it's very simple, very short lessons. I mean, short. But my daughter loved it. She's like me. She just look at the pictures. If you are that type of person, if you like to look at pictures and just find all these details in them, and every time you go back and look at the picture, you say, oh, I didn't see that. Find something new. It really sparks their interest in that. And so she really liked that a lot. We love that. I would recommend that over and over. So you look at the art, and it will have questions like, what is the woman doing in the picture? What time of year do you think it is? Just different things to make them really look at the art and really think about it. And she has a good language arts curriculum too. Very short lessons, very short, like the Charlotte Mason method. Charlotte Mason was a British teacher. And when we say Charlotte Mason curriculum, she never actually wrote her own curriculum, but we call it because it's that style. Charlotte Mason was a British educator, and I cannot remember when she lived. It's like been like, I want to say like early 1900s. I could be wrong on that. Somebody might correct me on that. That's fine. But she believed that children learn best in an environment where they got several breaks and they spent time outside and things like that. So instead of sitting in a classroom for hours and hours and hours at a time, or maybe only going outside at lunchtime, she really encouraged a lot of breaks. So a lot of parents over the years have kind of grabbed onto that concept. And I know we did later on, wish we would have grabbed onto it earlier. And just doing like, you know, a lot of breaks, a lot of time outside, shorter lessons. And I learned over the years with multiple grades, working in homeschool groups, working in a Christian school, working at home with my own kids. I found one thing to be the same. Everybody learned better in smaller chunks than they did these big, long chunks, big, long periods of time, big, long lessons. If you could get shorter chunks, shorter lessons, they seem to pick it up a lot quicker. I know I do. I thought it was just because my mind is older, but you know, it really works. And a lot of outside time as much as you can. So, and there are a lot of online free resources too. I mean, they are just millions. Free online sources, just, you know, Google it. Free online kindergarten Bible, you know, free printables for, you know, 6th grade art, whatever you put in there, the possibilities are endless. So we use that a lot for Bible, for art, for nature study, for all kinds of things. So let me look here. So nature study is really good. A lot of times it's simple. I would just get my girls, you know, a pad of paper, a notebook, and that would be their nature journal. And they could decorate it up any way they wanted. We even bought a couple nature journals. And then you would just have different times when you would just go outside and say, hey, you know what? We're going for a walk. And you might just walk around your property. You might go, we live in town, we would walk to the library and back. And we have like a little arboretum area there. And go around, and one time we went and we just did a leaf collection and went around and looked at all the trees because they have so many in there. You might do some bird watching. We've got different local parks there where you can do bird watching. Even when it's like 30 below and you don't want to go outside, look out the window. What do you see? What's going on? You know, so there's all kinds of things. And kids love that. It gets them outside. It gets you outside, and that works great too. So I'm going to go over just kind of like what our daily routine was. I know we're not currently homeschooling because my girls are graduated, so I don't have like a day in the life video I can show you. So I'm just going to tell you details, what our life looked like. And you have to do what works for you. But again, this is in detail what we did, okay? Now, this doesn't account for days where you have like field trip days, which we did, or maybe a doctor's appointment, or somebody's sick. Just an average day. We would wake up and, you know, I was never like, get up, you know, time. Not after that first year anyway. So we would wake up and everybody in their pajamas and bedhead, you know, make it to the kitchen, you know. I get my coffee, the girls would eat, you know, and so just kind of get going like that, kind of not real exciting, just kind of slow and boring. And then sometimes we'd still be in our pajamas and I'd say, okay, let's, you know, after they eat and gather in, and it may not be till 9 or 9:30, you know. I mean, we were never these up at 6 a.m. get started people. You know, again, if you are, great, but we weren't. So probably around like maybe 9:30, be like, okay, let's have Bible devotion. And we just gather around the table and we do whatever Bible devotion we were doing for that day. And, you know, I'd ask them, you have any questions or comments? Which usually was no. But still, and I found out later because my youngest, when I would say, hey, do you know how to do this or that? Yeah. And then I'd say, well, you don't know how to do that. Why didn't you ask for help? Well, because every time I ask you, you take too long talking and I don't want to. So, yeah, out of the mouths of babes, right? Honesty and truth. So, but that's what we would do. And then we would usually move on and try to do math first, or sometimes my youngest would be like, well, can I, you know, I want to work on like English type stuff and then math, whatever. I was never really strict. And the reason we did that is because I don't know about you, but my brain, their brain seemed like, okay, you got a little bit more energy and a little more focus in the morning. It was like, if it was like 3 o'clock or later, I'd be like, don't be coming to me about no math questions because my brain is fried and I can't even focus right now. So I'd be like, wait till tomorrow. But that's just me. So that's what we did in the morning. And, I let them take as long as they wanted to with it because I didn't want to say, well, you got 30 minutes to do math and then boom, 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 you got to move on to other things because, we're doing school here. No, if it took an hour, it took an hour. If it took 20 minutes, it took 20 minutes, not a big deal. So we would mainly do that. And then, if they were whizzing through and wanted to go on to a next subject, fine. I mean, we didn't really have a strict schedule. We just didn't. And my girls are 8 years apart. So I'd be working with the one while the other one was pretty much independent working by this time because she was older. And so, then, they might go on to another subject, like maybe work on some spelling or something. And then be like, okay, take a break. Sure, take 10-minute break, whatever. And at that time, probably, we'd go get dressed or whatever. Get dressed for the day, ready for the day. And then, maybe get a drink or whatever, come back. And then they just go into whatever subjects they wanted to next, whether it was English, whether it was history, science. So, they kind of get down their own pattern, because I don't want to say, you're doing this first, and then this, and be like, that's not working for them. So, you get in a groove, and you'll see, and they'll see what works best for them. And so, I just kind of let them go through the subjects, and then, we would do some things together, some not, whatever they needed help with. Sometimes they would be working independently, and I'd go do the dishes or, laundry or whatever, and be like, okay, let me know when you need help. And then I'd come in periodically if they didn't ask for help and check and say, okay, you forgot this, or, did you need some help on this or whatever. So sometimes they needed my help and I was right with them, and other times I'm just doing everyday life. Then we'd stop and eat lunch. Sometimes they'd be done by lunchtime. It was short lessons and they'd be done. And then when they're done, they're done. I'm not going to say, oh no, we got to have 8 hours of school in here. I mean, I know at least in the state of Indiana, you have to count for 180 days, and you can count field trip days in that too, but we don't have to record hours, so we didn't have to worry about that. And then sometimes not. Sometimes it'd take till 3 or 3:30, and we would just go subject to subject, and in between might be like, hey, I can tell they need a break. Be like, hey, just put everything down. Let's go for a walk. Put everything down, go outside and play for a little bit. If it was still warm weather, go take a dip and swim in our little pool that we had at the time, whatever. Or stop and just talk about stuff, whatever, play with the dog, whatever it may be. So don't be afraid to take breaks. Don't be afraid to just be more free with things, And then when they were done, they were done. I know we always had a strict rule. I said no TV until after 3 o'clock. Because I just could not stand the TV to be on during the day, and that would distract everybody. So no TV till after 3 o'clock. That was a rule. And they knew they weren't allowed to, if it was like lunchtime and they wanted to get toys out and play with them or something, that's fine. But not all during the day, you're not going to have that out. But, they might have it their little, a lot of times they would just do work at the dining room table or on the living room couch. And I know there were 2 different houses we lived in. While we homeschooled, that we had an actual homeschool room, which was nice because we had a room, just put everything in there, and then you could decorate the room, whatever. So sometimes they, do stuff in there, and other times not. But it was pretty lenient for us. So, like I said, you just have to adapt to what is good for you. Some people work better in their life on a very strict schedule. Some don't. I think I work better on a strict schedule, but when I'm at home, I tend to just kind of get off of it and do whatever. But that is the blessing with homeschooling, that, if you're not feeling well that day, or if maybe all of you are like, oh my gosh, we just can't concentrate, that's fine. Take your school books and go do work at the park. Or say, okay, we had days that were like, we are burnout. We had just been going and going, we are burnout. We're just taking a day off. We can do that. And I know when I planned our school year, I'm a planner and a list maker. That's just me. So when I planned it out, I would always give leeway for extra random days. Yes, I planned in there 2 weeks Christmas break and a week for spring break and a little bit of a fall break for a couple days. And, we took our summer break and things like that. But I always left about 4 days, maybe 5 leeway in the school year for us to just, say, hey, we need a break. And of course, you can count field trips for school days, okay? So if we went with our homeschool group to a children's museum, that was a field trip. If we went to some special deal they were having at the library maybe, and a craft thing going on, that could be a field trip. Just depends on what you're doing. Trips to farms, whatever. We did a lot of different things, and those were field trip days. And some parents also choose to school year round. I know some people who've done that, so they don't take like 3 months off in the summer. They will school all year round, especially some of them who travel a lot. And that way they can take, instead of that 3-month chunk in the summer, they're taking 2 and 3 weeks here and 2 and 3 weeks there. If that works for you, that's great. I know my girls were like, we want that 3 months off in the summer, and that's that. And so did I. So we just kind of ran kind of like a public school or private school system with that. So I think that's all I have in my notes today. If you guys have any questions or any comments, anything, please put them down in the description. The comment box. See, sometimes I'm like, what am I even talking about? So I'm really hoping this video turns out full because I keep having trouble with my phone not staying where I set it, and it keeps going back to like the factory mode. So hopefully I will see this video once it comes up and say, yay, it's full. If not, we'll keep working on it. So thank you for watching today. I'm going to have another probably 1 or 2 in this video series about homeschooling, and then I'm going to be done with that. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Any comments about anything. And a lot of times, I encourage people to comment because other people read comments. I do that. When I watch a YouTube video, sometimes while I'm listening to it, I'll be looking in the comments and be like, oh, wow, that's a good tip, or oh, this or that, just seeing what other people say. So I encourage you to do that. So thank you for watching today. I'm going to get off here and take care of stuff. We had a big ice storm here last night in Indiana. That was fun. So everybody had just layers of ice on the cars, on the sidewalks. Our poor dog went out the door this morning and just like all over the deck, down the deck steps. Poor thing. Jesus, it's crazy. So yeah, so I got to get off here, and I forgot to buy more salt. So note to self there. So hope you guys have a good day, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.